Guys, so we're back here, and today I'm going to teach you how to lay the girder out, the middle beam of our little house project. I'm going to review a little bit here so you guys can see what we did yesterday when we laid out side A of our front wall. This is going to be the front door of our house here, the front wall. So again, that's the girder. This is the sill plate. The way it goes is we're going to install a header joist all the way along here. This is called a common floor joist right here. And if you look at our common floor joist before I move them out of the way, this is going to be important to understand when we do our layout marks. This floor joist goes on this side. This floor joist goes on this side, and they're overlapped in the middle. Now we have ours overlapped more than we normally do on a real job site so we can use our lumber over again. But this is what it's going to look like after we construct it. But before we construct it, we have to do our layout mark. So I'm going to move this out of the way to do that, just to show you. That was just for instructional purposes. So yesterday we have this laid out, and this is what it looks like. From the end, we hooked our tape measure on. We marked 15 1/4, and we put an X to this side of the line, and we marked with our framing square both sides of where the floor joist is going to go. And the reason we use a framing square works great for this because the tongue of the framing square is the same thickness as our lumber. All right, so very, very helpful for laying this out. So on this plate, this sill plate here, again, we hook on 15 1/4, we fall that way. We go to 31 1/4, we fall this way. That way the center of our floor joist is right in the middle of the 16-inch mark, right in the middle of our 32-inch mark. But once we set the joist on there, if we marked those, we wouldn't be able to see it. So we mark the edges. Once I put the joist on there, I wouldn't be able to see that mark, so we would fall back 3/4 of an inch and mark this. So again, we went 15 1/4, 31 1/4, every red dot on your tape measure, 47 1/4, 64, fell back 3/4, 63 1/4. So on and so forth, all the way down we did that. Now we have to do the same thing on our beam here. So to do it on the beam, we're gonna mark both sides. This is one of the more tricky things in construction to keep straight in your mind. So I'm gonna hook on over here. I'm gonna mark 15 1/4 again. But this time, I have to mark both sides of my beam with my framing square. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a line here. And on this side, I'm going to put my joist on this side, and on this side, I'm going to put my joist like this. So we lay our beam out with the X for this side like this, and the X for this side like this. All right? Again, 15 1/4, 31 1/4. This side, like so. So this side over here, and this side over here. If I make a mistake like I just did, I can just scribble it out. All right, the next joist is gonna be 47 1/4. This side's over here, this joist over here. Again, when you're doing it in real construction, we have to walk on this beam, so it's a little more challenging. 64, we fall back 3/4 of an inch. This side here, and this side here, so on and so forth. Every red mark, we're gonna do that. 80, 79 1/4. Gonna go to 96, fall back 3/4. We're gonna go to 112, fall back 3/4. We'll go to 128, fall back 3/4. All right, now I'm going to square them all across so that I know where to set my floor joist. So these are just our 16-inch on centers for our floor joist. We're also going to install a stairwell opening. We'll make a separate video on how to do that layout in a minute. So now we have side A, or the front of our house, laid out. We have our girder laid out. Now we have to lay the rear sill plate out. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Now on this sill plate, all the X's are gonna go on this side. If you look, this side of the line, so now I'm gonna mark 15 1/4 and put my X on this side of the line. So I'm gonna come over here, 15 1/4. This is the only time that we ever mark, not the only time, but very rarely do we mark the X on the right side, except for in this floor joist situation. So what that means is we have to cut the first sheet of plywood on the edge a little bit differently than we do on that side. So 16, fall back 3/4, 32, fall back 3/4. I'm gonna put my X on that side, 47 1/4, 63 1/4, 79 1/4, 95 1/4, 111 1/4, and 127 1/4. We always know that we need the joist on the end there. Now we're gonna go back and take our framing square again. We're gonna make sure we're using the tongue, not the blade, the tongue of the framing square, and we're gonna mark both sides of our joist. Now, when you're a professional, they don't always mark both sides, but when you're first learning, it's very helpful to be very clear with where all this is going. We always lay out. We always, as construction workers, lay out our floor joists before we install. They're heavy and hard to install, so we don't want to move them around more than we need to and cause more work for ourselves. So the layout marks are good to do, then we can check it, make sure it's all right, then start building it. So there it is. There's our layout marks. Side A, or the front of the house, the girder. This joist here is going to go this way. This joist here will go there, and we have our layout marks on the rear of our house. All laid out 16 inches on center. All right, if we were doing 12 inches on center, we would mark 11 1/4 and 23 1/4 and 35 1/4, so on like that. This time we're using 16 inch on center, so we're going for the red marks on our tape measure: 16, 32, 48, 64, so on and so forth. All right, so the most common ones you're going to run into are going to be 12 inch on center, 16 inch on center, and 24 inch on center. Typically our most common on center spacing. All right, thanks.